For most people, the purchase of a brand new car, for whatever diverse reason and requirement, is one of the single most important decisions one will ever make. There is simply very little that can compare with the feeling of achievement when you drive a brand new car off the showroom floor. But what happens to that car before you get to take it home? Here is Peugeot's Lee Luck.
Well, for importers like Peugeot especially, vehicle logistics is a complicated business. Cars arrive in their hundreds and thousands at the Durban Port Car Terminal. After clearing the initial customs processes, the vehicle transport companies take over. During this stage, the cars are transported from the port and are stored in a bonded enclosure until Peugeot Motors South Africa requires the vehicle to be shipped to any one of its over 30 dealerships across southern Africa. This is also a high-risk phase, with countless ways in which damages can occur. Besides attempting to keep track of the whereabouts of hundreds of cars, PMSA takes every possible precaution to maintain the cars in their brand new conditions. But no one can plan for or prevent the devastations caused by Mother Nature.
In November 2006, an unseasonal flood in the Durban area sealed the fate of 285 brand new Peugeots. A selection of 206s, 207s, 307s and even desirable coupe cabriolets were drowned by the floodwaters, which changed the temporary storage facility into a swamp. For Peugeot, it was a disaster, and during the coming months, the future of these cars had to be decided.
In January 2008, after lots of debate, the future of the 285 Peugeots was finally decided. Although very little damage appeared to remain, these Peugeots would never see a showroom floor. Instead, they were all going to be destroyed.
A drastic step indeed. At a Durban yard of Africa's largest recycling company, the Reclamation Group, every single Peugeot would be turned into little pieces of scrap metal. It is a painful process that extracts every conceivable emotion, but in the same breath, it is a spectacle that one has to see to believe. The sound of shattering glass and crunching metal make it quite a violent experience to witness.
The initial process is complicated, but it takes the experienced hands of the operator only around 2 minutes to complete. Firstly, to eliminate the risk of fire, the battery is removed, after which a giant claw inflicts as much damage to the body of the car as possible. After a good pummeling, the car is then skillfully flipped over before every tire is carefully dislodged from the rim. The claw then simply digs the fuel tank out of the car before the lifeless body is dragged away.
During the second phase of destruction, the remains are lifted into a compactor, which reduces the size of the former Peugeot to a rectangular block the size of a coffin. These are then transported to a second Reclamation Group yard, where the final destruction process takes place. In one sequence of events, the coffins are dropped onto a conveyor belt, flattened and chopped into smaller blocks. A magnet separates steel from waste, after which the steel is further shredded until only a handful of scrap metal remains. And all of this complies with environmentally friendly requirements. Thankfully, the steel will have a second life in the construction industry. But the burning question remains why? Why could the cars not be repaired? Why could the cars not be sold at reduced prices? Or why could spare parts like batteries, wheels and tires, windscreens or even engines not be salvaged to recover at least some of the damages? These were the questions that caused Peugeot management serious headaches and even more serious sessions of deliberation. But the answers turned out to be quite simple.
Peugeot Motors South Africa's policy of customer satisfaction and after sales is one without compromise. After engineers from Peugeot France investigated every single car, it was clear that the extent of the damage was severe enough to cause a safety risk. It was impossible to predict what would go wrong or what could go wrong if any of these cars should land in customer hands. The additional risk of having 285 potentially unhappy customers would be in direct conflict with Peugeot's successful efforts in solving customer complaints. As the cars were still in bond when the flood happened, import duties and VAT had not been paid to SARS. To salvage anything meant taking the risk of paying the VAT plus import duties, which just doesn't make to seem financial sense.
Throughout the 4-day crushing process, SARS officials were present to ensure that everything, from wheel caps to even keys and owner's manuals, were totally destroyed.
For Peugeot Motors South Africa and its partners at Auto Carriers, this whole incident was a difficult and expensive hurdle to overcome, and we could not have succeeded without the good support and cooperation with both customs and SARS officials. The conclusion to this tough choice is that we can celebrate our 6th year on South African soil with a clear conscience and Peugeot customer service and after-sales strategy totally, safely intact.
And the customer, driving his Peugeot off the showroom floor, will still have the peace of mind that his or her purchase is absolutely spotless and brand new, and in addition to this, is backed by an infallible customer satisfaction strategy.